All right, it's 5 o'clock, so we will call this Beaufort County Board of Education agenda setting meeting to order. And this meeting is being conducted by the board's executive committee, and all three of us are present. That is myself, Vice Chair Richard Geyer, and Secretary Angela Middleton. We also have joining us board members Chloe Gordon, Carlton Dallas, Earl Campbell, and we have staff members, Dr. Rodriguez and Wendy Cartledge. So we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, motion made by Colonel Geyer and second by Ms. Middleton. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the agenda is approved unanimously. Next up, we have the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Now we'll have Robin display the January 30, 2023 committee meeting minutes. All right. And do we have a motion to approve these minutes?
I think Angela's trying.
Okay.
All right, Matt, what days are the minutes? I'm sorry.
Sure.
January 30th.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, I move that we approve the January 30th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Second the motion.
So, Robin, I just have a question for you. So she made the motion. Oh, did she make the motion to approve the minutes after I suggested they needed corrections, the January 19th?
She made a motion to, yes, she did.
Okay. All right.
Yes. She
Then
made
I'm
the
fine.
motion with the corrections, and then you listed the two corrections that you wanted to see on the January 19th.
Perfect. Okay. I have nothing further. And there being no hands up, all those in favor of the January 30, 2023 meeting minutes, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, those are approved unanimously. Next up, we have setting the next board meeting agenda of February 21. So here we have our draft. Can you make it a little bit bigger, please?
Let's see.
That looks good. Thank you kindly.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so I spoke to Dr. Rodriguez before agenda setting this afternoon, and there's an issue with getting the ability to have our recording south of the Broad. So do you want to just briefly explain that, Dr. Rodriguez?
Yes, we went looking for 3 quotes like we needed to get. We got, I think we have dollar figures from 3 groups. One is USCB, one is WHHI, and another one is this company, I believe, out of Charleston. And so the challenge is the following: getting follow-up communication and conversation with USCB has proved to be a bit difficult at the moment. And so our team has sent a few emails. We haven't heard back yet. So we're concerned about, the consistency that is needed on a project like this. Secondly, the WHHI would be the next group in terms of to look at. And WHHI, the cost is going to be about $60,000 for the first year, because they don't have all the equipment they need. So they're going to have to go out and get some equipment. But then following that, it would be about 44,000 after the first year. The company out of Charleston would be more in the range of 70,000 or a little more. Part of what's proving challenging is that it doesn't seem like there are groups out there that have all the equipment that they need. So they're all going to have to go out and purchase equipment if they're intending to deliver on what we need. So WHHI seems to be the best option, but doesn't look like they would be ready to go for the second February meeting. So it looks like it would be a possibility for the March second March meeting that we always have in south of the Broad in southern Beaufort County. So that's kind of where we stand. WHHI thinks they can do it. It will be about 60,000 for the first year, 44,000 for subsequent years. So that's the issue.
Okay, well, thank you. So Robin, on our current board calendar, this meeting is south of the Broad?
I think on our current board, we have to be determined.
Okay, so do
I
we
mean,
want,
the board,
ahead.
the calendar that you all approved in November, yes, says that this meeting would be south of the Broad. But I think, so yes, the one that you approved in November said the second meetings are south of the Broad.
Right, and then since then, we got the notification from the
Correct.
county that they would
Correct.
end our contract unilaterally.
January 3rd. Yes.
January 31. Okay, so it seems like, could we have a motion from one of the officers that we will have this meeting at the media center due to, I don't know what you want to say, or just say that because of recording issues, et cetera.
Can I ask a question before we do?
Sure, absolutely.
The county does their county council meetings elsewhere, and I assume they're supported by the county channel. Is that correct?
I would assume that's how they're doing it.
Yeah.
And there is no way we can convince the county to do what they do for themselves.
I would be willing to try that avenue tomorrow.
I had that same conversation with Dr. R earlier. Yeah.
I think there'd be an uproar by the public if we haven't at least explored that and let the county council say no, and in public or in writing, because I'm going to take a lot of heat from constituents to say, wait a minute, you're going to spend $60,000
Mhm.
somebody else, and then we may have them for $40,000 a year, maybe. At some place, it's still got to have a place where they can set up. I mean, I guess they could do it at one of our schools, but this seems just so petty to me that the county is being this way. So
I'm happy to pursue that tomorrow. Wanted to have this conversation today. But I'm happy to pursue that tomorrow and see what I hear back from them. But I will pursue it with Eric Greenway, who sent that letter. I don't know if it's something that the council would have voted on. I don't think they voted on that. I think this was a decision that was executed through the administrator.
Well, I'm willing to reach out to Alex Howard and say, come on, folks. This just seems so petty.
So executive committee, do you want to just leave it the way it is for now? I guess we don't have to take a vote, because yes, I do think it would be ideal, best to have it south of the Broad, but this is 8 days away. I think the chances of that having everything in place for that to happen is slim to zero.
You're right. And it's expensive. Those proposals are very expensive. Can someone
In
refresh
which
my,
case the board would need to vote on it.
yes,
Yeah.
so can somebody
Yeah.
refresh my memory and tell me why they said they stopped their contract? They didn't want to proceed?
The letter they sent, I believe, said that it was a cost-related issue on their end in terms of continuing that it was costing, I forget the word they used, but it was cost-related. And that's the rationale they used.
Who's in charge of the county channel?
I believe they report to the county administrator. And so it's probably an operational matter if it's cutting the costs like that. And then because I don't think the county council voted on it. I could be mistaken, but I don't think they voted on it.
So why didn't they, okay, this is a question I need you to ask. Why didn't they tell us what the additional cost would be so we could decide on what we needed to do next? Did they give a proposal on what that additional cost would be?
No,
No.
it didn't. I think it just basically exercised their right to terminate the agreement. And I believe it listed a cost effectiveness piece. Do you recall it that way, Dr. Watts, or any?
Yes, exactly. And
And
if you
staffing.
look at their contract they had with us, they can terminate it without cause unilaterally, so long as they give 30 days notice. And they did. It was, I think they notified us on like December 19th for the January 30 or 31 termination.
Okay.
So I guess, should we vote on this, that we gotta have it at the media center on February 21? What's the committee's desire or will or suggestion?
Do we really need a vote? Because we really don't have a choice.
Yeah, okay. Dick?
I don't think we have a choice, but
Yeah.
we could always change the location. It could be as soon as 24 hours prior to,
Yeah, that's true, before published. Yeah, okay, well then let's just leave it.
also, we have to have a meeting south of the Broad. I mean, I really understand why people south of the Broad feel like they're being not taken care of equally by having to come up here every time. I understand the traffic and everything else, and we north of the Broad ought to get some of that pain as well.
Yeah, I agree, Dick, and the important thing is that it's not fair to the parents and our constituents that it's always one-sided. It's not.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we'll leave that. We had the discussion why it is what it is. Then we've got the usual disclaimers. That all looks fine. So we're down to executive session starting at 5 o'clock. And what would those items be, Dr. R?
So I believe, knock on wood, we've got a shorter executive session than we've seen the last couple of weeks. So we've got a legal update for you on an item, and then we have 3 8% roof replacement projects that are going to come forward. One for Bluffton Middle School, one for Okeechobee Elementary, and one for Whale Branch Elementary.
Okay. And Wendy, you're with us, right?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so I know you spoke that Jean Matthews has some new information, or is that something you can present?
I can ask Mr. Matthews if he is available, and if he's not, I can present that information to you. Then we would
Okay.
have 2 pending. We have, 2 pending legal claims.
So it sounded like legal update
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that would be
2
part of it.
receipt of legal advice regarding 2 pending legal claims.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. she said instead of updates, I have advice, legal advice.
And I'll get all the wording from her. I'm just
Okay,
using it
okay.
as a placeholder currently.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'll
So
send
then
it to you,
we're-
Robin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then we're into the public session at 6 o'clock in our usual agenda order there. Student performance.
And student performance is based off of where we are holding our meeting.
Okay,
So,
all right.
so that may be one, maybe two, it may change. So I have to let them know where our meeting's going to be held.
Okay. And then we have points of celebration, and I'd like to include on that list the tribute to Earl Campbell that was played at the African American Conference on Saturday.
And once again, points of celebration, the list might be shortened or whatever
Okay.
they said, depending on where we're holding our meeting.
All righty. Then we have first public comments. The chair report to include an update on the SCSBA annual conference that's later this week. I can't think of anything else. Our committee reports, finance and operations.
Yeah, I'll be giving reports on both of those.
Yes, you will be.
I'm trying, we have recommendations to put a lot into the consent agenda. I'm gonna try to get that taken care of and mention it in the report. But we have, since we didn't have meetings for about 2 months, we have quite a bit of stuff.
Mhm.
Finance committee tomorrow, or operations.
Operations, yeah.
We had finance committee already. We had a number of issues to bring up. We've got some OEs and some other things to look at tomorrow. But these are going to be relatively long, but I'll try to condense them as much as possible.
Okay.
I don't think, there's nothing real controversial
Okay.
that I anticipate. You might find something tomorrow, but nothing from the finance that's controversial.
Okay. So then we're on to the superintendent's report, Dr. Rodriguez.
Yep. So we will have something under student achievement. I'm not able to, settle on that yet because I'm waiting to see if the state has a release of the designations that they've gone back and forth on about 20 times. So they have not released anything yet. So if they do, we'll have an update for the board on that. If not, we will have a different student achievement update. So we will have something for the board on student achievement. The second item we will have is on 23-24, just a budget process update for the board.
Okay, so that would be under goal 3 though, right?
Oh,
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just leave the student achievement bullet blank for right now.
will
Correct.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will have
Okay.
something, but it'll just depend on whether we
What's
have
in-
the
yeah.
other.
Okay. And anything under other matters?
No.
Nope. Okay. And board business action, we don't think another review of the book of appeals would be ready, correct, Dr. R?
I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is this Thursday, there's I believe another 10 books that committees will be meeting on. And then it will, depends on how long it takes them to file an appeal if they decide to file an appeal.
Mhm.
They have 7 days to do that, I believe it is. And if they do, then we may have it, or it may be on the following meeting, but then the board has 15 days after an appeal has been filed. So at this juncture, the answer is we don't have anything at this
Okay.
juncture.
All right. And then currently on the consent agenda, we have the,
Dick's hand,
oh, sure.
Dick's hands
Dick,
up.
Go ahead.
Back to board business action.
Yeah.
We have, should report to the board about the negotiations with the county about the Lepico property.
Okay.
And so where do you think that would be best on the agenda?
I think it's a business action.
Okay, yeah,
Because it's not, there's no competition, there's no competitive bids or anything. It's simply a joint action with the county.
okay,
So, but we should at least let the public know that we're doing it.
yeah.
There
So what is it proposed joint?
eco property transfer. Probably be right. Do you think that is the right way to say it, Dr. Rodriguez?
I think if it's just a transfer, that would, probably be right. If it's a sale, that's a different thing, right?
When you look at our options from the state statute, sale is probably won't apply. I think there could be some monetary differences between the two governmental agencies, but I don't think sale would seem to be that we're going to put it out on the open market, which I don't believe that's what we're thinking about doing.
Okay.
I'll respond, Dick, because I was at the SCSBA regarding that language about I've forgotten, once you have, I want to say assets, property assets that are not being utilized by the school district for, I think it was 4 years or something to that effect. Probably Wendy knows the details of it. The way it's worded, you almost think it cannot be a sale, and that is not correct. So I don't know if this is something actually that should be discussed in executive session, because it's a potential real estate transaction. I think that might be the better place for it. Wendy?
And Tanya's on as well.
I think part of it too is there's a date in that legislation or whatever it is that anything purchased or owned prior to a certain date doesn't fall within that legislation. Anything after that, and I think it's a 1950 something date.
On it well before then.
Yeah.
So it doesn't apply to us, according to Robert. That they looked at it, and because we purchased it back in the 30s, we don't have to abide by. We're grandfathered, so to speak.
Well, my preference, I certainly wasn't privy to the conversation regarding this proposed property transfer, but I think it's something that we need to discuss in executive session with the board, as opposed to just out there in the business section, since it's a potential negotiation of real estate.
And there's another issue that probably ought to go up there as well, and that's the possibility of a TIF in that same area.
Couldn't hear
Sorry,
you.
I didn't hear what you said, Dick. The second part.
Yeah, there's a proposal that some people are talking about, and it has to be an executive session.
Okay.
About a possible tax infrastructure fund, TIF, like we have in
Uh-huh.
Whale Branch area.
So put Lepico property up in executive session as well.
That's my preference. If we want to vote on it, we can vote on it, but it's definitely one of the well-recognized FOIA exemptions. When you're talking, you don't have negotiating, how should I say, abilities if you're going to put it right out in the public. That's why I would not do it under board business
Yeah.
action.
Discussion, proposed negotiations regarding real estate
Yeah.
transactions. That's correct. Dr. Watts is covered by FOIA to be discussed in executive session.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy.
Real estate property transfer, real estate transfer. Yeah.
Did you want to add anything, Tanya, to that?
I don't think Tanya was
Okay.
engaged in that aspect of it.
Okay.
So
I see her there.
Yeah.
I can reach out to Robert and get up to speed on that issue and join you in executive session. I think that's an appropriate place for the discussion.
Thank you.
I was going to say, but she will be now.
Oh, Brian Nurick has been involved, so, you know, I mean, as far as the TIF, the finance piece.
So on that property?
Just about the process of establishing a TIF, since it
Oh,
hasn't been
TIF, okay.
years since one has been established. And Brian can talk us through the issues about.
Yeah, so then we need him he needs to be included and available for the executive session for the TIF. Okay. Any other board business action from the officers?
No.
All right, so let's go to our future agenda topics.
Am I rolling it too fast?
No,
Robin, the discussion of legislative bills was Mr. Campbell.
Okay.
And Tina, those were the bills that they discussed when the legislative committee presented to us last Tuesday.
yeah,
A total of 4 of them that need to be discussed during the work session.
okay, perfect. So we have that on there. The communication with communities, Carlton's suggestion, I think that would also be excellent work session. Material. The Levigo property, you can put this board meeting. February. Yeah, 21, okay. And is it just this one page, Robin?
No, yes.
Okay. So process and procedures for disciplinary action. That's Chloe's, who's on here with us.
Mhm. Did you
We've
mean
done-
put work session or?
Yeah, work session would be fine. It's just a question about how parents are notified. And I do know that it's in the student handbook, I believe. But the question came up, a parent, didn't know. And I know sometimes they don't read, but just so that we are also clear when we're telling the public what that should be. I think I spoke with Dr. Rodriguez about
Mhm.
the notification processes. And I know that parents are notified verbally and in, written form as well. But sometimes just because they're told and they don't get it in writing, they're saying they weren't told, but they were, so just a question about how we do that. That's
Okay,
And we do have it posted on the website.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think I'm supposed to be giving notice to Ms. Gordon during the registration process as well, but I'll check on that. Thank you for letting us know.
Okay, thank you.
so work session.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Chloe. And assessment results, Carlton.
William's hands up.
Go ahead, William.
My question was, I think just for an information basis, I think that could be something that could be done in an actual board meeting, so that parents and people who are there can also see it and understand it. And I think that should be more of a presentation from the superintendent and staff. I think that could be done in actual board meeting.
So does, what's the desire of the committee? Vice Chair and Secretary,
I
you
have
want to
no-
vote or make a motion or?
I have no problem doing it at a normal board meeting. I don't think this would take a whole lot of time.
I agree.
And it seems like it would be under not board business action, but under
Mhm.
the superintendent's report.
Mhm.
I don't think we have time this month. I mean, the next month. First one in March, perhaps?
Yeah, what, Dr. R, what do you think that would require for preparation? Is that something? you
No,
can
I think
hammer
that's
out
fine.
for-
March is fine.
Okay, I'm good with that too. So if there are no objections, that's where we'll assign it, okay? And then assessment results, Carlton, do you want to speak about that?
Yes,
think-
I'm sorry, Dr.
Go
Rodriguez.
ahead.
No, I was
Mhm.
just gonna say, Carlton, this is your, Mr. Downs, this is your item, but I understood the item, not really to be, specifically about assessment results, but to be about, just various different metrics within the system. And I understood it, the way I understood it, though, I think it would be more of a work session item.
Yes, if you want me to go ahead now.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So you could actually title it Management by Results. And it is, I think it would be a work session item, because it basically is trying to identify what are the key high impact metrics that we might want to track. The staff and the superintendent might want to track to help them get a visual of the what's happening and very quickly, sort of like the assessment report,
Mhm.
but targeting different performance and operating metrics, financial metrics, those types of things. And it might make it easier on the leadership and staff to actually manage the business very, very efficiently.
Sounds good. So I think that finishes our outstanding agenda topics review. Then we have our usual remainder of the agenda, the announcements, second public comments, and adjournment. And that looks correct at the end there. All right. So anything further about this meeting?
Madam Chair, whenever it's time for the non-committee members to speak, I do have one point might be beneficial.
Go ahead.
The Economic Development Corporation just held a large meeting at Pinckney Hall, and they evidently took care of all of the audio visuals that took place there. I don't know specifically what the needs are in terms of reporting or streaming and what have you. They might be a place that could help accommodate the issue of a meeting south of the Broad.
And that's in Hampton Hall?
That is actually in Sun City. Is that
Sun
right?
City, okay.
And they accommodated 350, 375 people at that meeting. And
Do you know when did you have to, you must have had to have a pass to get in there though, right?
yes, what they do is they provided the pass electronically to all of the people who responded RSVP that they would attend. We could print it out. And if some person forgot to print it out, then you could actually obtain a pass at the gate. They certainly would prefer that, you know, as we did, that people print the passes out and just show them because it's a pretty large meeting venue with very strong audiovisuals. The second point, Madam Chair, is
Yeah,
I'm actually taping a TV segment tomorrow at WHHI. And so, you know, I'm not trying to interject myself, but if it comes up, I will certainly, if the leadership so desires, encourage them to be very frugal in their estimate, if that's not improper.
I like that. So, Dr. Rodriguez, do you want to see about the Pinckney Hall possibility? I see having to have a pass is a real issue for the public, because I bet you some public doesn't want to have to acquire a pass, for example. Any comments, Dr. R?
Yeah, I would be happy to connect with them. I think I do agree with you to be somewhat cautious about if a pass is going to inhibit anybody, or not inhibit anybody, but cause individuals to say that we're excluding people or trying to exclude people or anything like
Right.
that, you know, which I think, as Mr. Dallas pointed out, it was I think they make it pretty easy to obtain one. However, I'm happy to look into that and see what we can find.
That sounds great. And I would just say the sooner the better for us.
Sure.
Okay. So our next order of business, let me just double check. No hands up. Nope. All right. Our next order of business is to determine the date of the next agenda setting meeting. And go ahead.
The next one would have been on Monday, the 27th, but Lynn Stokes, the legislative committee, is going to meet on that day at 4:30, because that's the day that Lynn Stokes Murray can come. So I was going to propose if agenda setting can be the 28th on that Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
Just let me look in my calendar, please.
I'm available.
Yes, I'm available.
There's technology committee, but it should be.
It's
over.
at 3. Yeah, it's at 3, and then agenda would be at 5.
All right.
I think just from my end, just a reminder, if we push into Tuesday, you know, in terms of staff getting items to Robin, we may need to push beyond Thursday on that week.
Well, our other option is to do it before or after the legislative committee meets.
I won't be available.
Pardon me?
If it's before the legislative meeting, I won't be available.
Yeah, exactly. I know you have a time constraint. Yep.
Dr. Guadz, I think it's okay. I'm just throwing that out there as in essence, really to just ask for some consideration if individual division has an issue.
Okay.
That's all.
And Tina,
All
if
right.
you need to do it on Monday and I'm not there, it's okay.
Yeah, but I think I would prefer to schedule a meeting where I can accommodate the 3 of us as opposed to 2 of us. I just think it's better if all 3 of us are participating. And I'm fine with the Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and we'll just try to be understanding of Dr. Rodriguez's concern.
May not be an
Dick-
issue, but if it is, I'm just asking for consideration on that. That's all.
Yeah. And Dick, you were okay with Tuesday, the 28th at 5 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and we'll do it via Zoom again.
Yes, ma'am.
That seems to work well for us.
Mhm.
All right, so that's the next meeting. Do we have any other items we need to discuss tonight regarding agenda setting?
No, ma'am.
Okay, there being none, we can adjourn by unanimous consent, and thank you for everyone who's in attendance.
Thank you.
All those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
Good,
Thank you.
good evening. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.